Legends Con 2, March of 2025. Very exciting. We got the official announcement a couple weeks ago, and information is very scarce. We have a look at our new board, which is very promising. We have whisperings about where the new location might be. We don't have any official word, but I think that it's understood that it's going to be more centrally located, so it's more equally accessible to the country. The first one being in Burbank, I had to fly across the country to get there. But I thought this would be a good opportunity to look at some of the cool stuff I brought home from the first Legends Con 2023. My girlfriend and I both went. Those are our passes. Here's our much used event schedule. They had a stack of these to grab, folded it and unfolded it all day. And I have another one that's in better shape. I donated to the coffee and I think it's called coffee, and the Kickstarter, and I forget which is which, but got some bookmarks and stickers. They're pretty cool. I didn't donate to get the things, so the quality of whatever they were sending isn't that important, but it's nice to get something. The Twin Sons Foundation with both Dylan and Brian were in attendance, accepting donations for EU books or any books to give to children's hospitals. And they also ran a panel about their organization. I think they had a pretty good haul of books at Legends Con. 60-ish books sounds right, and I think they donated them to a local Boys and Girls Club. The business card and bookmarks they were just handing out. But if you donated a book, you could get one of Twin Sons' lanyards, so I donated a couple. There were a few lanyards on offer, and I think Twin Sons had the best lanyard in my opinion. Best mechanism. However, everybody was pretty happy with the lanyards Dark Horse provided. And there were a number of free things you could pick up from the main desk at the convention. Some stuff that Dark Horse provided, some stuff that BioWare provided, some Old Republic stuff. And then there was some stuff you could buy, some prints and t-shirts with the Legends Con branding. So I got a Legends Con lanyard. But for the most part, I didn't buy a lot of the Legends Con merch, but this did catch my eye. And so I bought this Legends Con pendant. Might not be able to see it. It says September 9th and 10th, 2023 there on the back. And it turns out that there's a very cool story attached to this piece of Legends Con memorabilia. And it is that it's 3D printed and painted by one of the owners, Kyle. And as it turns out, the story goes that he created a number of these, but the TSA savaged them, and only a few survived to make it to the convention. And they went on sale late because Kyle showed up to the convention late because of flight delays that he and Joe both experienced. They went through quite an ordeal, as is the story is becoming well known now. And out of the few that there were, I was the only fan that bought one, and the rest went home with other volunteers. And I have heard from Kyle, he has suggested the possibility, he's not promised this, to be clear, but he has suggested the possibility of creating, 3D printing something new for the next con, for Legends Con 2, and cons going forward, and having something unique for each one, which selfishly for me is extremely exciting, because if I get all of them going forward, we'll see, one con at a time if I can attend. If I get all of them going forward, I will be one of the only ones with a complete set, likely the only one with a complete set. But I didn't get a lot of books signed. I had luggage restrictions, given that I was going to be taking Supernatural Encounters home. But I did bring Planet of Twilight to get signed by Barbara Hambly. And I saw Craig Miller there, and he was selling his book, which is also available on Amazon. And I had him sign this, bought this, and had him sign it. But here is one of the awesome little surprises of the convention. Something that only a specific group of EU fans really values, but it is so valuable to them, is this exclusive book from Abel G. Pena, who was, of course, in attendance and had his own panel. And when you would get a signature from Abel, he would give you a copy of this book. It is a collection of interviews, a lot of them for the first time in print, or most of them for the first time in print, with some stuff that hasn't been seen before, with some unique insights. And it says right here, it's a Legends Con exclusive. And it almost doesn't even matter what's in here, just the collectability and the obscurity of this is like gold to a certain small group of us. Got his signature. What an insanely cool dude, down to earth, yet extremely smart. So he was talking to me about Skywalkers. I was having him sign a copy of Skywalkers for somebody else. And he was talking to me about Skywalkers, and I'm afraid that I could not match him in conversation because a lot of what he was saying went right over my head, and I was like, I need to reread this book so I can match him in this conversation. Now, whether or not we see this book again at Legends Con 2, I don't know. Well, for a couple of reasons. One, we don't know who the guests are yet, though I would suspect that Abel G. Pena being in attendance for Legends Con 2 is extremely likely. I haven't heard anything. You can talk to the Legends Con people online. They're not announcing anything official yet, but they're very reachable and all really nice. And if he attends, maybe he won't offer another book, but I just want to note that it says Legends Con exclusive, not a Legends Con 2023 exclusive. So it might be that this is just something he offers exclusive to all Legends Cons going forward. I'm just speculating here. Or maybe he or a different author will surprise us all with some other unique book or print or something that you can only get at the convention. But of course, the star of the show, the much rumored about but not officially announced exclusive Legends Con copies of Supernatural Encounters. At the time of the convention, this must have been very stressful for Joe Bongiorno, the author. He was just starting to send out the backer copies with different covers of Supernatural Encounters, and he probably sent out like half of them to backers and went to the convention and was selling this exclusive print, and then when he got back from the convention started shipping the rest out. So there were some people there that hadn't even seen the book yet. Including myself. So Legends Con was where I first saw this beast. And because Joe was late, because of his insane odyssey of delayed flights, we enter the convention, myself and a whole bunch of people, we know each other from online, which was partially why it was such a great experience. We enter the convention and there's the booths of people selling stuff, and the panel rooms are off to the side. And there's a table set up. You know, there's Randy Stradley, there's Craig Miller, And there's a table set up that says Joe Bongiorno, and there's just all these boxes stacked behind the table. I don't know how many boxes, 30 boxes, something like that. And they all say Joe Bongiorno on them, and we know what's in the boxes, but dude, Joe's not there yet. And so we're looking around, and like I'm looking to Marcel or Alex or Brennan, and we're like, Joe's not here yet, but we got to go to the first panel. I can't miss Sean Stewart. And so I go to see Sean Stewart, and then the second the Sean Stewart panel is over, Marcel can attest to this. He had a good laugh at me. The second the Sean Stewart panel's over, I'm like, and I do like a little polite little jog away from the panel rooms back onto the floor where the books are, and there they are stacked, and Joe's not there, and I'm like, oh my God, what's going on? And I'm just terrified that I'm going to be in the middle of a panel, and Joe's going to show up, and all his books are going to sell. Now, they didn't sell, he sold all his books, but there wasn't like, they didn't sell out instantly. He sold them all gradually through the 2 days. And so it was like 3 panels I would go to, and then we went and we saw Matthew Stover. I forget the exact order. I guess I could look at the planner there. And every time I'd go running back, and Marcel's like, yeah, go check for us. We got to know if he's here yet. Because Marcel, of course, wanted to hang around and ask some questions of the authors. I wasn't quite confident enough yet to really put the questions to the authors. And so then halfway through the first day, nobody knew that Joe and Kyle had these horrible flight delays. And another friend of ours that we know from online and in the EU community actually was on the flight with them, and he showed up late as well. It was really fun meeting him. And so 3 of them, maybe more, but 3 people I know of that went on this horrible journey of delayed flights. And so I'm in line for Abel Pena, and my girlfriend's with me, and I'm like, honey, he's here, because Joe had an assistant finally taking all of the boxes, taking all the books out of the boxes, and she's setting them up and stacking them, looking really nice. And she's like, yeah, Joe is finally here. He's just getting set up, and he's going to come down. And I'm like, can I pick one of these up? And, and so naturally I'm looking at all the pictures, and my mind is blown. But we can't buy any yet, and of course I want Joe's signature. But Abel G. Pena's signing, selling an exclusive book, and it's winding down. And I'm like, well, I have to get in line for Abel. And so my girlfriend Joanna held my spot in the front of the line that was forming. And maybe I might have gotten a little pushy and a little aggressive when it came to this, because I was in line with Abel, and because he's wonderful, he was taking like 15 minutes with each person asking questions. But I'm kind of like, I want this book so I can go wait in line. Joe shows up. I abandon being in line for Abel G. Pena and go and step right up next to my girlfriend, and I'm like, and Joe's like, or he's kind of like, oh, okay, this person's pretty excited, and he's exhausted and sitting down, and he's just looking at these books for the first time too, this cover at least. And I introduce myself, and he remembers me from just briefly chatting online in his Discord, and we bought our books, and he signed them. And here they are. And Legends Con exclusive, but for the really collector oriented in us, I want to point a couple things out, which is that Joe Bongiorno has said that there is the possibility of another print of Supernatural Encounters for Legends Con 2025, and that we don't know if there'll be new covers or the same covers. I'm happy with either or. If they're the same covers, other people get to have these covers, that's fine. If they're new covers, then I get another unique copy of Supernatural Encounters. But actually, even if they really are these same covers, the new LegendsCon 2025 copies will be unique covers in unique prints for a few reasons. One, we're getting a new LegendsCon symbol for LegendsCon 2. Two, there was an intention to have the Star Wars symbol printed up here like the backer copies. I quite like the open space here, but if these covers are used again, we'll almost certainly have the Star Wars symbol up here. Three, Joe is making some very minor revisions to this, what is now the first edition. And so a couple spots here and there, maybe a couple little typos, like the 2 that they missed out of these 1,000 pages. They did such a good job. These will be the first copy, those will be the revised copies. And so for me, and a select group of extreme nerds, Brennan is certainly one of them, we will need the new print. If he's selling them the same way he sold them this last time, one person should be able to buy a hardcover and a paperback each. I don't know if that will be the case. I can't speak for him or what his plans are. And of course, it's not a given that they'll be there yet, but I think those are obviously the tentative plans. I would love there to be copies there. Thanks.